Hello, Esquire. Welcome to week 2. This is your mental health check-in for this week. Please be reminded that today is Martin Luther King Jr. Day. It is a holiday, therefore you won't get the responses that you may be looking for from me due to it being a holiday. However, I knew it was important for me to get on to provide additional clarification for you all regarding your upcoming assignments and your groups and resources, okay? So that being said, your groups were posted. So since your groups are posted, you should be able to go to the People tab located within our course, right? You can click that and you'll have the tab that shows everyone, and then you have the other one that shows you your case brief presentations. Make sure you click on that. And then you'll have like the drop box set up where it'll say group 1, group 2, group 3, and it'll have below it everyone who's within that group, okay? That being said, your groups, I made sure that the groups are aligned with the chapter. So group 1 is going to be chapter 1. And within chapter 1, this is the case that you're going to be going over. For example, the first group 1 will be going over Park v. Deftones, which can be found in chapter 1. And you can find that through the Leganto online book setup. Through that, as a reminder, you do have the option of printing out or downloading the PDF version if that helps you more. If you need to actually write and go through it, that way you don't have to purchase the book and you could still have, your version in which you can mark up. That being said, just make sure, remember you all had that 11 a.m. time frame to reach out to me today in regards to switching groups. If you are an individual who joined our class on Friday, like right before the cutoff period, you all have until the end of today to actually, say you wanted to switch groups, but you have to let me know if you're having any conflicts now. We can't wait until like the last minute, okay, when it comes to switching groups and all that good stuff. Going down the line, as also a reminder, we do not have a chapter 4 case to go over, so it skips to group 5, okay? So I just wanted to let you know that. Announcement section, okay, yes, this is very big. The announcement section is to relay information to you all as a class. If I find something, that you may be having an issue with, or that I see as an issue amongst, more students than just one, I'll try to make an announcement to let you know everything's going to be fine. So for example, I made an announcement on the first day of class that stated that when it comes to your IRAC method, when it comes to the IRAC for RAC method quiz, that it will say that you got an answer wrong, even if you put your entire answer in there correctly. It's just because the way that it's set up, if you have a lowercase or uppercase, it'll say that this is right, this is wrong. In that announcement, I go and I say, hey, it's okay. Just put in, your answer, whether it's plural or singular, and I'll make sure to go through there once the quiz has closed. I'll go in and I'll update your grade, so don't worry about that. So I received some emails that were like, they were a little worried. I'm like, no, don't worry, you're fine. Just make sure you're looking at those announcements, just in case you can't reach me, because I have that 48-hour time frame and I don't have like the correspondence over the weekends. So please just make sure that you know all the resources to get to said answers or any issues that you may run into. That way you're not having, anxiety and everything, because you can't contact me, okay? During that like weekend time frame, so on and so forth. Going down the line, once the week begins, well, for us all, we pretty much are coming in person. We have our in-person class, right? But because of this week, we have a holiday. Since we have the holiday, we're not going in. So I'm doing mental health video for you all. I do this each week for my fully online students because they don't have that face-to-face moment where they can ask any questions, and it just so happens because this week's laid out the way that it is, you all may have some questions, so I wanted to do the same for you, and that way you all can comment below this video with any questions that you have, right? For the sake, I don't know what's going on with Canvas, so this is going to be uploaded on a YouTube link. So you're going to click that YouTube link, obviously, and then that's how you got here listening to me now. But you're just going to make sure that you look at that link to get to what we're doing. Make sure that you're sending an email to me directly to my web courses email if you have any questions, and I promise I'll answer it there. When it comes to your assignments that are coming up this week, it's all within module 0.5, okay? The focus, you have your quizzes. Your quizzes are pretty simple. It's going to be about everything that was in 0.5, okay? Their quizzes revolving around the elements of a contract. You have your court system, and then you have your legal research and writing format, which is the IRAC and like the FRAC method, okay? So all that information is there, okay? When it comes to this week, you all have your discussions, right? So you have 3 quizzes, you have 3 games, and you have your 3 discussion posts. Your main discussion post, whenever a discussion post is coming up, know your main discussion post is due on Thursday by 11:59 p.m. It's important to remember that. Why? Because you get a 13-point deduction if you do not have that post by Thursday, okay? You are able to do your peer responses up until Sunday, okay, at 11:59 p.m. But you have to remember to do that main post. Now, why am I telling you this now? Because you have 3 main posts due by this Thursday. And it's not bad. I know people are like, oh, it's 3 posts. If you started working in the time frame in which I gave you, and you've been listening to what I said, you've been holding my hand, you should already at least have, at least 1 discussion post written out. Now, I can understand people having confusion because you see this template for the discussion post, but you're like, wait, am I supposed to upload a Word document? No, you're not supposed to upload the Word document. The purpose for you all to have that template is for the structure, for you to understand how it's supposed to look in your discussion post, okay? So for some people, they'll type up their discussion in a Word document and make sure it's aligned and it looks like the example that's been presented, and they'll copy and they'll paste it. For other individuals, which is my suggestion, is you working within the Canvas system. That way everything is aligned as you're going. There's this feature that I just found out about, which is super cool. You can do like a split screen. And in the split screen, you can have like a format set up. And I don't know if this is for everybody, but at least for my MacBook Pro, I'm able to have 1 page up and have another page up. So I can look and see what the formatting is for the discussion post. And on the other side, I can put, I could start writing and doing my formatting. So make sure you're following the instructions that's within that template. So you have a portion that says, make sure your questions are underlined. Just make sure your questions are underlined. You'll get points deducted for not having underlined. Make sure your main response is bolded. So for example, the main response in the template, you'll see it has main response and it's bolded. So going down the line, it says, what are the elements of a contract? That's the portion that's in bold. That's the main post, your main response on that end. Your questions, though, that are underlined, you need to answer those. So if it's a question, the answer for that question should be under that question, okay? It shouldn't be scattered everywhere. It should be structured. Like, here's my point, here's my point, here's my point, okay? So make sure that if you're using any information that's not your own, quotes, paraphrase, and so on and so forth, that you put your reference at the end of your discussion, okay? Usually, like with the first couple of discussions, it's more or less like all about what you think, how you feel, so on and so forth. So it's not as major as it is in going into other discussions, making sure that you have, where did you use your research? Where did you get this information from? And I'm just looking for the references for that. I'm not looking for you to go crazy and do in-text citations, throughout. It's just having that reference is very important. Then, if you're looking like, well, I don't know how to do APA reference pages, citations, so on and so forth, remember, it's just you put in references, and then if you look at the template, there's a citation machine link, which allows you to say, hey, what formatting are you using? Put APA, put your information in there. And once you put your information in there, it will generate it for you. I've been using Citation Machine ever since I was in undergrad. It was one thing that saved my life. And so hopefully that helps you as well. There's other resources out there as well. That's like my old faithful type of use when it comes to the Citation Machine. Going down the line, please just make sure that you're getting your work in on time. I understand things happen. If you're sick or something comes up, please make sure you're following the guidelines that's been provided within your course contract / syllabus. 3 days after, at least 3 days after you've been sick, I just need that doctor's note to see how I can open or extend assignments for you. But please keep in mind that I have a deadline for grades at the end of the semester, so you can't wait until the last minute to go up there and say, Professor Word, this, that, and third. In law, it's known as time is of the essence. Let me know what's going on. You don't even have to go fully into detail about what you're going through, because that's so confidential and so private. I just need the letters from your doctors. That way we can have it documented to say, this is what happened, provide you with X amount of time to complete your assignment and get your stuff in, okay? And it pains me because I'm like, oh, you're humans first, okay? You're human beings, not human doings. However, going into this industry, it's not so forgiving. It's, can you produce the deliverables in your contract? If you can't produce those deliverables, we're going to get somebody else to do it. We're going to sue you if you don't have it done in time, because we have a deadline ourselves. It's a lot of moving pieces. So as your professor, I am preparing you for what you're going into, versus you going through and everything being all lax and you're like, oh no, it's gonna be great, and then you get in the industry and it's a completely different animal out there. I have to prepare you for that, even down to the discussion post, or how this needs to be underlined, this needs to be bolded, and this needs to be structured in this format. And it's like, oh, well, I didn't underline it, but I put a bullet point. I didn't ask you for that. That's not in your contract. It states that you need to do this. And so if you start training your mind now, that way when you get into the industry, you're going to be like, okay, my attention to detail is crazy. And I've gotten deals and opportunities because of the level of my attention to detail. And that is something that I want to pass on to you all, because you stand out like nobody's business, okay? You stand out like nobody's business when you have great attention to detail. So just make sure, if you have any questions, reach out to me. You need clarification, I'll, usually we'll be in class. I'll take some time from class to make sure that everybody understands what they need to do. I'm very straightforward. I tell you exactly what I want. Give me that. And another reminder, as we start going into your case briefs for those who are doing the Part B Deftones, okay? That's coming up, not this week, but next week, okay? And so make sure when you're looking at the case brief, you have the option. I'll post an example from one of my students who did a phenomenal job when it came to doing the actual presentation, like the PowerPoint slides. You have some people who did like quizzes, but one of my students who basically started the process of it all and doing the actual layout instead of reading from the case brief itself. She still has to submit the case brief. When it comes to your case brief, no matter what, each week your case brief is due. Not this week, only when it's due. I'm just letting y'all know in advance, because when we do come back, we are going to have that that case brief and everything ready to make sure we're staying on track. So on that case brief, make sure you, at the top, it tells you running head. You can keep the running head exactly, the phrase running head there exactly as it is, has a colon. Then it says my title goes here. Notice how everything's all capitalized. Make sure that it's all capitalized, okay? Going from there, put your name, the title, if it says my title's here, how the first letter is capitalized, just how it is written, but you're just putting your title in it, okay? As long as your title relates to what's being submitted. So if it's case brief 1, Park v. Deftones, like as long as Park v. Deftones is in there, you're gonna be fine. When it comes to the actual subheadings. The subheadings are the only things that should remain there. All the instructional information needs to go. The only thing that's staying is your subsections and the titles of your assignment. Nothing else should be in there. Well, this is what a case brief is, such and such and such and such. That all should be removed. Make sure you are referencing where you got your work from. Use that citation machine like I told you about. Make sure once you're done, prior to submitting your assignment, that you are highlighting or selecting all of your text and making sure that it's consistent throughout your document. This includes your page numbers, okay? So just make sure everything's consistent, it's looking clean, it's looking good. I'll give more on that, in my next week's posting as well. Next week when we meet up as well. But, prior to you coming to class, you're going to have that case brief due, okay? Make sure that it is submitted prior to class. There's a whole thing within your contract saying that if you're not prepared, for those who are supposed to be presenting especially, that you will get a 0 on your assignment. So make sure that you're looking to see which group you're in, okay? The beautiful thing about it is, because everyone has to turn it in each, for the weeks that the case briefs are due, all you have to do to technically get your points is read directly from your case brief that you wrote, and that's how you get your points. So for the people who are presenting, so just make sure you're turning in those case briefs, because even if there's a moment where you just completely blank out, you've done your assignment. I do this stuff by design because I understand how life is, and I don't want to see you all not be successful in this class, okay? I want you all to learn. When we get back, we're gonna have lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of fun. I know it can be nerve-wracking, y'all. I know it can be a lot. It's like, oh, so much stuff is going on in life. Just a lot of stuff is happening. And so just make sure you're using the resources that I also provide. For example, if you're experiencing homelessness or anything that's impacting your work, please reach out to me. You don't have to go in the greatest detail, but I'm going to make sure I get you the resources that you need. We have a resource line for UCF students. So make sure you're, reaching out and letting me know if you need anything so I can send that information to you. Also, UCF Counseling and Psychological Services. You remember when I said, hey, mental health is health, doctor's notes, you literally get sessions with them. And I believe there's free sessions, I think up to 3 sessions that are free. It might be a little bit more than that because so much changes over time. But I remember I had free sessions when I was in undergrad here. So I would think the same thing for you all, okay? So that being said, make sure that you're going to take advantage of that because it comes out of your tuition as well. So go take advantage of that. If you are, let's say your laptop or your iPad or something happens to it, you also have UCF Technological Services that loans out computers, laptops, tablets, not like I know this class in itself, cameras, we don't need cameras or anything. Or if you decide some creative way that you're going to use a camera and record or whatever it may be, make sure or just let you know that you do have that available to you. So take advantage of these resources. I'll make sure to have links under this video, but I wanted to make sure that I got this information out to you just in case you need it. Please, when these videos come out, look at them. Of course, we'll talk in class, but if there's ever a moment where there's a hurricane or there's snowing in Florida and all kinds of stuff is happening, that you're paying attention to any of these that get posted. They will be posted under your module, like for that week. That way you can keep on track instead of having to run everywhere else. You look and see, okay, at the bottom, I see the mental health check-in. Let me look at that and see what other information is there. Other than that, if you have any questions, you're just like, I don't know, reach out to me. And then also take a look at the videos that I send, and there's an article and everything else with me as well regarding like homelessness and being at UCF for undergrad. And just as a reminder, you know, I also had to go through so much in undergrad. So that's why you're wondering why my teaching style is the way that it is because I wish that I had a professor like me. Yes, the work is still the work. Yes, you still have to do the work, but I have an understanding of what's happening outside of the classroom and why I didn't speak up, or, you know, what I was going through and I didn't think I had the support. So just know that when I'm making these decisions and I'm moving the way I'm moving, it's not coming from a thing of you just need to do your work and suck it up. I am going to provide like a space for us to be able to work through and get through whatever we're going through. Yes, the work is still due. We have stuff to do. However, what I've realized is that throughout life, the humanity is lost. Not only like what can be in higher education, but in life in general, people have become more like machines. So just having that understanding and realizing that we are human beings and not human doings, and we're having this whole experience, and we're just going to try to help each other through the process. Again, I'm super proud of you. And if you need anything, just let me know. I got you. And I will be opening up more of the modules as well for you all, so you can get an idea of what it's going to look like each week and what we're going to be doing, okay? Super proud of you. Talk to you soon. Enjoy your holiday.